We've talked a lot on here about money and college sports, television rights, all these sorts of things. Now, Georgia is announcing that they are going to try to raise $300 million over a 5 year period for the athletic department. This is an athletic department initiative. And naturally, a lot of people say, oh my God, $300 million? What do they really need $300 million for? I'm going to talk about that, why it's important, and why I think that number could be a little low in the grand scheme of things. About 10 years ago, well, no, it was about 7 years ago, in 2015, Greg McGarity, the then athletic director at Georgia, realized that the Dogs were behind in fundraising for the athletic department specifically. Schools like South Carolina and Kentucky, they were outraising Georgia. They certainly were raising more than Georgia certainly was not raising as much as it should have, considering the amount of people that like Georgia. Fast forward over this period of time, and Georgia has raised, let me make sure I get this right, $200 million in the last 7 years. So they announced this week, about 3 days ago, that they are going to raise $300 million over a 5 year period. I've got a few thoughts on this. First of all, you don't announce these sorts of things unless you're almost halfway there already. So I've been a part of something that's raised about $14 million. We did not announce until we were about seven. The project only turned out to be about 12. I think it was a little bit under $12 million. But you don't announce something like this until you've got more than half the way there. Number two, 300 million dollars for Georgia over a 5 year period of time. That's not that much money. That's $60 million, okay, that a year. They have been able to raise that with their eyes closed. So the hurdles are not really in the way for Georgia. Then comes the natural question: what do you need all this money for? And here's what Josh Brooks, the athletic director at Georgia, has to say about that. This campaign will allow us to continue our pursuit of recruiting and developing today's champions and tomorrow's leaders by providing an inclusive and diverse environment that allows student athletes to achieve their highest potential. Yada yada yada. Long story short, Georgia is saying we're not getting behind facilities again. Period. And a lot of people say, "Well, that come on, talk to Florida. When's the last time Florida mattered? Seriously, 2012? I mean, like when's the last time they won an SEC championship? 2008? They are way behind. They've only now caught up. And Georgia, the powers that be there would argue, hey, we're not going to, we were behind for a long time too. And that's a real problem. It is a real problem. But in this period of time, which coincided with Kirby getting hired, it was Mark's last year and the first year of Kirby that this really sort of took off. And then the McGill Society, for those that don't know, is a giving society that someone can give $25,000 over a 5 year period. Honestly, that's not a lot of money. I know a lot of y'all are going to be like, what in the hell are you talking about? But no, that's not a lot of money for an athletic department that has a $180 million budget. That gets me, you know what? Let me plug the book real fast. Speaking of money, get this now. Okay. We're ordering the books as we speak. Get DAWGSTRUCTION today. Okay. 80 pages, full color, the whole deal, hardcover, and you get this for free, the season preview. Now, if you just want the season preview, it's linked down below as well. But you're gonna not want to miss out on this. It's pretty cool, I gotta say. We will get this in on Friday. If you've ordered a book, you will probably get yours sent out on Friday. If you're waiting around, it's going to take me a little bit longer because I got to get the books in from Marietta. We do all the printing is local. It's in Marietta and it's in it's in the Athens area. So please order this today. Do not miss out. Do not get delayed. You're coming up on reading season. When y'all are traveling, you're going to want the preview. $300 million is not even twice Georgia's yearly budget, okay, for athletics. That's not that much money. Now, people are going to be like, "What are you talking about?" Well, there's a few things going on here at once. The big lesson that I think, and Josh Brooks was around for some of this, for Greg McGarity and Jerry Moorhead and the athletic department when COVID hit, was they were okay. Well, why were they okay? They were okay because they had money saved. That's it. That's the only reason they made it through. Okay, that and TV money that the SEC made everybody take, $25 million, whatever it was. Georgia's basically saying we're not going to be in the position again where if something strikes like COVID, a once in 100-year situation, we're not going to be. It's not going to be a problem for us. I mean, again, I'm going to keep saying this. I don't think 300 is that much in the grand scheme of things. The University of Georgia globally, uh, just everything. I mean, the endowment at Georgia is about $1.3 billion. That should be almost double that. That should at least be $2 billion. Why? When you have an endowment that is that size, you can live off of the interest. And I know interest has not been great lately, but when you have that kind of financial safety blanket, you can do things without a lot of real worry. Right now, although Georgia has always been financially smart as it relates to the athletic department, no crazy coaching firings, no 10 years of just going back. I mean, like Tennessee, Florida State, these are schools that have had a real hard time lately, and you've seen it on the field. Part of that's because of their situation financially. Georgia is simply not going to get into a situation where they got to rush out and borrow a bunch of money for any one thing, or rush out and do this, that, or the other. A lot of people will say, well, they've got the television money coming in. Why don't they just use that? Everybody in the SEC has television money. And look, this is not about Georgia against Clemson or Florida State or, you know, Baylor. This is about Georgia against Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma, the Gators, LSU, everybody in the league, Ohio State and Michigan, Michigan State and Penn State. That's it. It's those 20 schools. It's the SEC schools and the four from the Big Ten that are real money folks. Okay, that's where you're going to get outspent. If you're going to get it outspent, it's going to be amongst that 20 schools. Now, no, not Mississippi State, not Arkansas, not Vanderbilt, probably not Ole Miss, but Texas, Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Florida. These schools can all spend at a significant pace. If Georgia has money above and beyond, yeah, they'll be able to do what they want to do. That means attracting quality coaches, addressing facility problems. Y'all don't see the underneath of things. Stegman on the outside and on the interior, it's awesome. It's a really cool place. There's a lot of parts of Stegman underneath that are not attractive, that need to be dealt with. When you're trying to raise money for basketball, there's not a great spot to do it. Okay, football, Sanford still has plenty of problems. Okay, it really does. I walk around Sanford Stadium all the time. Okay, it's part of my job. And there's two things can be true at the same time. It is one of the nicest places to go to a game. It is one of the nicest places to work. Georgia is fabulous. There's still problems. There's still issues in terms of crowd on the non-bridge side in the end zone. You can barely move at the 100 level, at the 300 level, in the student section at 100 and 300. It's a real problem. So there are issues in Sanford Stadium, and ferries are not just going to fix these problems. You got to go out and get the money. And the final part of this is the money is out there to be had. Okay. Georgia has just completed 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Its most successful 5-year run in its history. Okay. South Carolina just did it. Well, excuse me, the Gators did it. South Carolina did it. Alabama did it. Clemson did it. Now Georgia's doing it. Okay. Whereas everyone I mentioned there, their best days perhaps are behind them. Perhaps Alabama. Georgia's are probably in front of them. Okay. You have to plan for the future that you see coming and the one that you can't know is coming. All right. And in doing this project, Georgia is trying to solidify and secure its financial future. It's smart, it's overdue by a lot. And no one should be scared of that $300 million number. I mean, you're Georgia. You should be raising money like this. That's my take. That was the weakness, really, from the Damon Evans to 2005 Greg McGarity. It was Georgia simply was not raising money the way they needed to. Think about everything that's in Georgia, all of the Home Depot, Coca-Cola, Delta. Think about those are just corporate. Think about all of the money in Atlanta. That's not Georgia Tech money. There are people that can do $25,000 over a 5-year period. Okay, and you don't need a ton of them to get it done. And that's probably what Georgia will do. This success, it comes at a cost. These things cost money. Being successful in college football today costs a significant amount of money. Georgia is broadcasting to everyone, we're a serious player. We're raising that $300 million.